Okay, that was about 5 minutes. I'm going to start taking questions now, and I'm going to start off with the questions that were posted at registration. So I'm going to start off with a question by Sean. Sean asked, can 2.1 responsive skin be full width? And yeah, you probably could make it full width. I plan on making a modification to it to make it full width. So yes, I do think it's possible to make it full width. You would, if you looked at the copies of the original full width mod for 2.1 or 2.0, you'd see what we did. So yeah, I do think you can make it full width, and I plan on doing that. Let's see. Kin Gears says, I'd like to be able to do a slider with 3 or 4 photos that look like a YouTube vid. When the photo icon is clicked, it takes the visitor. Actually, doesn't have anything to do with Thesis 2.1. Sure, you can make your photo look whatever you want it to look like, and you can make them land on whatever page you want them to land on. It's not really a 2.1 issue. Let's see. Okay, Deborah said she's most interested in tools for exporting, and I think we covered that pretty well. Just running through the questions here real quick. If you have questions of your own, please feel free to use it. What is the least painful way to upgrade a Thesis 2 theme to take advantage of all of 2.1's new features? I don't know. Haven't fully completed that process yet, so I don't really know the answer to that currently. But as soon as I'm done doing that with my themes, I will be glad to teach a little seminar on it. Because, and I presume at this point what you're talking about is how can you upgrade your own theme or your own skin? And that's entirely different than how do you upgrade a site from some skin to Thesis Classic. And I'm not sure that was the question you asked. So let's see. Lots of people registered. Why should I use 2.1 for my customers? Is it totally responsive? Well, it in itself it's responsive, and I've certainly demonstrated how you can customize it and still maintain that responsiveness. Anything you customize is gonna have to adapt or adjust to its response, to responsive behavior. As long as what you code is responsive, it'll stay responsive. Okay, well, I think that's it in those questions. So now we're just going to take questions to start off. So John Grieg says, so variables are a bit like packages. Well, packages dynamically generated CSS. Variables don't do that. But packages were included by reference, and variables are included by reference. So that's the way in which they are the same. But otherwise, they're a fair bit different. Julia asks, it would be nice to be able to create variables on the custom CSS page. It seems like an awful lot of back and forth. Yeah, it's true. It is a lot of back and forth, and the reverse is also the case, it seems to me. It would really be nice if you were in your if you were working in the skin editor to be able to click and insert variables over here, right? I don't believe there's any way to. Oh my gosh, there is. You can oh, here you go. Did not see that coming. We learned something just by playing. You can actually drag the stuff and drop it into a place. Holy smokes. Well, see, that's what I like about teaching these things. You learn stuff. So, yeah, you can drag those things into place. I wonder if you can drag a package into place. Let's just try that. I'm sure you probably can. Actually, why don't we just go over here where we've got one. Can I drag that package into place? Yep, I can. Hot diggity dog. That's spectacular. Okay, but yes, it would be nice to be able to do that stuff in a sort of similar interface. Chris was really interested in making it so only the really serious people who wanted to know this stuff had to open up a skin editor. And so that's why he moved custom CSS out instead of keeping it as a tab here. But anyway, let's see. Penny's got a couple of questions. Good morning. Oops. Good morning, Penny. I just unmuted your microphone.
Good morning.
So you got a couple questions here.
Yes. I was wondering what people who have a client license will see. Do they still get the skin editor?
Yeah.
Or do they just have the admin panel?
No, they still see the skin editor.
Okay. So it's available if they actually want to get in and learn how to mess with it.
It is.
But they can use the admin panel and not have to touch it. That's wonderful.
Right. Yes, that's true.
And then you mentioned that you had to modify your boxes so that only certain options were displayed and others were hidden.
Mm-hmm.
If we create boxes, is there a way to do that?
Yes, there is. There are a number of different types of options for boxes now that don't exist in 2.0. And one of those is the class options, which you saw demonstrated in the very first session. You didn't see it demonstrated or being written, but you saw it used here. The thing that sets up this footer widgets menu item is a class option. So if you set up a class option, then this shows up. And then there are box options which show up inside of content, and then there are HTML options which show up inside of the skin editor, and there are admin options which show up inside the skin editor. So there are different kinds of options. It used to be there was just one kind of option, that was box options, or two kinds, box options and HTML options. But now we have class options, box options, HTML options, and admin options. And they each display their options in different places.
And the users see the class ones?
Well, the users will see the class ones here, and they'll see the regular options, the box options under content, and they will see HTML options under the skin editor, and that's the same. And they'll also see admin options there. Right? These options right here,
Okay.
these are all regular box options.
So you're going to be moving some of your options into different places, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm moving a lot of my boxes. I only want open and available to people if they're in the skin editor. So
okay.
And so I don't want to clutter this interface with those. I mean, I can just show you what I mean.
Okay.
We can just go to Manage Skins here for a second, and I'll activate Agility. With Agility activated, now you see this whole list of things that are options that somebody has to set. So bottom footer column 1, it's asking the question, what kind of a wrapper is it? Well, that's the sort of thing that I don't think needs to be in the dashboard. I think that kind of thing can stay in the skin editor. So all of these, the copyright box will probably still stay in the options, but most of the rest of the stuff is all going to go into the skin editor and out of the.
So can Can you show me how you would change one of those options?
Well, not without actually going to the. I'm going to teach a class on how to write boxes,
Okay.
and in that class I will go through what the options look like. I can show you, just for grins, this the one box that I have for Thesis 2.1, which is the where to go simple. Okay, no, that's not it. What was it? It was classic footer widgets. That's what it is. Um, so, in terms of the classic footer widgets, I have this class option set up, which has the array for number of widget areas you can choose. Oh, I forgot about template options. There are also template options. So I have the template option set up so that you can decide whether or not the widget should show up on a specific template. But I don't have any regular options or HTML options. By contrast, if we just look at we'd look at the copyright date one. Oh, that's a dead one. Let's see. I think this is probably good. Yeah, execute shortcodes. These options now, div, p, span, those kinds of options are now going to be handled under a public function HTML options. And then this shortcode, I think I'm going to make the shortcode an HTML option too. So this is actually just going to be HTML options instead of regular options, so that none of this stuff shows up in the regular options area, but only shows up in HTML options.
Okay, well, I look forward to your class. Sounds wonderful.
Okay. Anything else?
I had submitted some, but I don't know that they're appropriate for going over at this time.
Oh, the ones
I
you
sent you a
emailed
separate
me.
email.
Yeah. Okay. Let me. Okay. Yeah. I'll just get back to you privately about that stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay. So next up is Richard Brassaw. Good morning, Richard. I just unmuted your microphone.
Oh, good morning. This is more of an esoteric question. Do you know if the variables can be used in an equation?
Well, they can be used in an equation as long as you're doing it inside of your skin. So here's classic responsive. And let's see, get past his options, design.
Well, actually, I was thinking more just a variable, calling a variable, and
No,
determining. It can't. Okay,
no.
that's the other thing. And right now, I'm still on Thesis 2.0, and will I be notified of an update when the 2.1 goes, full bore?
Well, when 2.1 is released, you'll see a nag in your browser that says, upgrade is available. Right?
Okay.
It's going to look just like this. Right? Thesis 2.1 is available update now. So that's
But
what you'll see.
From what I'm gathering, though, is when I do it, because I've done a fair amount of customization, it sounds like I'm really going to have to go back and rework some of that.
It doesn't have anything to do with upgrading, though. And you're only going to have to rework it if you want to somehow use some of the new stuff. So if you built it in Thesis Classic and you want to turn it into Thesis Classic responsive, then yeah, you're going to have to rebuild it. But if you've built it in Thesis Classic and it's in Thesis Classic, upgrading is not going to affect that at all. It'll work just fine. And
Okay, well, I guess
if you built it in Agility or something like that, I'm updating Agility in such a way that you won't actually have to. You won't have to do anything except just upgrade your copy of Agility. You're not going to have to redo anything in order for it to work properly.
all right. Well, that's it for my questions, and good seminar. I'm looking for the box seminar.
Okay, well, that's we're going to jump into that soon.
All right. Well,
Okay?
thank you.
You betcha. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, let's see. Jupiter Jim. Jupiter Jim. Good morning, Jim.
Hey Rick,
How you doing?
doing good. I didn't think you were going to call on me since I submitted a question, but that's okay. Let me go up.
Let's see. Does it really need the something before the half, and then weren't you there again, or did I
Oh
swear?
no, those are just comments as
Did-
you were going.
Did I
when you
swear
were,
in the video?
No, what makes you say that?
You said.
Oh no,
you
no,
mean
it said a
dadgummit.
dadgummit. You said something similar.
I see. Okay.
I just whatever.
In real life, I'm reasonably foul-mouthed, but I try to try to maintain some sort of professional demeanor in a seminar. So.
Uh, I'm I'm laughing. I'll tell you why next time we talk. No, you used something similar to dadgummit, but it wasn't. Anyways, hey, my question for the day, did you get the link that I sent you, or do you want to flip it over to me and I'll just show you, or does it? Let me ask the question. Okay, I built a site based on the the responsive, I think it was Blue Masters
Yep.
skin. Okay.
Yep.
So I built a site. It's still a demo site. I haven't quite. I'm just like ready to upload it this week for the client. So everything's ready to go, and then 2.1 comes out this week, and I'm wondering Okay, I know you're going to teach the course. I guess I don't have time to wait for that course, that 8-week course for building the responsive skin. Let me ask a question. If I rebuild my site, I don't know if you need to see it, but if I just rebuild it on Thesis Classic, would that make sense?
Well, the structure of Thesis Classic is way different than the structure of Blue Masters. So I think you'd be hard-pressed to build a Blue Masters responsive skin in Thesis Classic. I mean, the chances are your Blue Masters is going to work fine in 2.0, and you should just try it and see if something doesn't work quite right. But I'm, like I said, Agility works just fine, and Agility is way more complicated than Blue Masters.
Gotcha. Okay, so you've answered the most important part of my question. The part B of my question is, okay, I upload that skin that I created, which is the Blue Masters, okay? The client is happy, it's 2.0, and then in a week or two, when the final version of Thesis 2.1 comes out, if I go to upgrade it, will that be easy, or what do you think is going to happen then?
Well, it's not you're definitely going to upgrade to 2.1, but it's not going to have any effect on your skin.
Okay, perfect. That's the
right,
answer I was looking
because
for.
you're the skin author, so
Right.
everything that you've done in that skin
Yeah.
still works in 2.1.
Okay.
You don't have some of the tools that come in 2.1 in that skin, but it doesn't matter because you're done with that skin and you've moved on. You don't need it. You don't need those tools, and the skin is going to work just fine for you.
Okay.
Now to the extent that you want to upgrade it, from a 2.0 version of the skin to a 2.1 version of the skin, to that extent, that's really the first seminar I should probably teach is upgrading a skin from 2.0 to 2.1. Because it's not going to be that difficult, right? You're just going to pick and choose which of the cool tools do you want to use. And if you want to use some of them, then you're going to employ them.
When you say cool tools, give me an example.
The dynamic variables. That's what I really
Oh,
mean is the
gotcha,
dynamic
gotcha.
variables, because the dynamic variables are totally cool, and you could include a panel, options panel, that implements those dynamic variables, and then put that in your CSS. So it's perfectly legitimate enterprise to talk about upgrading from 2.0 to 2.1, but your 2.0 scan is going to work just fine in 2.1.
Okay, that answers my question perfectly. Thank you so much. I'm sure there's a lot of other questions. So have a great
Okay,
weekend, Rick.
you bet. You too. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Okay, next up is Andrea Arden. Good evening, or good morning, Andrea.
Hi, Rick. How are you?
I'm doing well. So,
Um,
what's up?
well, I had a question about the variables. When you first mentioned them back when you were discussing the media queries, I thought I heard you initially say that one of them was sidebar plus sidebar, and I got confused. So I just wanted you to go over what actually the variables represent that were used in the media query, so I understand. I think I understand, but I just want
Okay,
clarification.
well, so the media queries, Chris's media queries use two different variables. He uses W content, which is the width of the content column,
Okay,
and he uses W total, which is the sum of W content and W sidebar.
got it. Okay. I think I heard you say sidebar plus sidebar, but what you said was content plus
Content
sidebar.
plus sidebar, right.
Okay.
And this gets automatically generated every time design options are saved. The W total does.
So as as a skin author, I wouldn't have to do anything. That's a variable that's already there.
Well, if you are creating a skin that is, if you're creating a skin as a copy of Thesis Classic responsive,
Hmm.
as soon as you export, as soon as you take the, well, actually, what I should say is that the skeleton process, right, where we exported the skeleton and then imported the skeleton and it ended up looking the same,
Right.
that exported all of the options and settings, but none of the dynamic programming.
Okay.
So, so as soon as we did that export, we lost the automatic connection of WP content and WP sidebar to W total. Now W
Okay.
total is no longer a dynamic variable. It's a variable that is set manually here and can be anything you want it to be, and is not going to change when either of these change. However, as long as it stays in Thesis Classic, there's programming inside of Thesis Classic that connects the three.
Where is that programming? So if I wanted to go look at it, which file is it in?
Skin PHP,
Okay.
which is where all of your programming goes when you're creating a skin. All of your
Got
programming
it.
is going to go in Skin PHP.
Okay. That answers my question. Um, are you going to teach another class next week? You hinted at it earlier.
Well, next week what I'm going to teach is next week I'm teaching a class in converting an existing 185 site into 2.1 using Thesis Classic
Okay.
responsive.
Do you know when you're going to teach it?
I don't know when I'm going to teach it yet. Yeah, but I don't know. And actually, maybe it's the week after, because this is the 4th of July week this week, and so I already don't have a class on Thursday Thursday specifically because of the 4th of July. So it's probably going to be the week after, would be my guess. But
Well, if you have a class next week, I'll be there.
okay, well I will probably send out an email tomorrow, and then another one on Monday, giving the schedule for next week.
Okay. And then I just have a comment. I really do not like Facebook because of some concerns I have about security.
Sure.
And but I did like like your blog post yesterday
Oh, thank you.
because I really think your classes and your membership are like the best value going, and so I hope lots of people see that and come.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
But I just wanted you to know just how much it meant for me to do that.
You
It's
like
the only thing
you liked
ever
it so
liked.
much that you would open up Facebook.
That's exactly right. Because I felt like, ew, the slime. But anyway. So, shouldn't say that. I realize that's a very important thing, but I don't like it.
I don't pay any attention to my personal Facebook account at all.
Yeah. Well.
So. Okay. Well,
I guess maybe I need to set up a new account. That's a problem.
Well, thank you very much, Andrea.
You're welcome.
We'll talk to you later.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Rick. Bye.
Okay, let's see. Mike Nichols, select WP menu for front page. Mike, are you still here? Let's see. Good morning, Mike. I just unmuted your microphone. Oh, he says no, Mike. I'm not sure I understand the question. There was a question about select WP menu for front page, and I don't think I understand the question. So, okay. Let's see. Peter asks, can I say when the final version of Thesis 2.1 is going to come out? No, I have zero idea except that, it should be pretty soon, but beyond that, I don't know. I know that they're working hard and fast and furious to try and quash little bugs, and there are still a handful of little bugs left to quash. Let's see. Jeffrey suggests that the custom CSS page is intended for the end user to modify a skin, which is probably why Chris hasn't made it possible to create new variables there. Yeah, you might be right about that. And I mean, if you're the skin author, you're not going to write anything in custom CSS. You're just going to do it all in skin PHP. And if you're just modifying a skin, then probably you want to spend all of your time in custom CSS and don't want to modify skin PHP. That's my own personal opinion about it. But anyway, people want to know, when will Carta and Agility be updated? Well, I'm going to try. I don't know the answer to that question either, but I'm going to. That is on the near the top of my priority list once I get these videos edited and posted. So it's going to be soon. I wouldn't be surprised if, within a week, at least one of those is updated. And there may be more than one update. There may be one update there's not going to be more than one update. There's going to be a first update that puts everything together. So, probably in a week or so. Okay, it doesn't look like there are any other questions. There are a handful of comments and stuff like that, but if you had a question I didn't answer it, raise your hand now. And okay, Jerry has a question. Hello, Jerry. I just unmuted your microphone.
Hi, Rick. I got a question here. Decided to bite the bullet here after our discussions about shop and some of the problems it has.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and sit down and take the time to learn how to customize the Thesis 2.1 theme. What is the best skin to use if you're going to create a WooCommerce online store? All the whole world is going to cell phones here. I don't want to miss out on sales from not being able to be found properly or pure where people can see what you're selling.
Um, I don't think there's such a thing as the right skin as long as you're using a responsive skin. So WooCommerce displays nicely in Agility and nicely in Carta. I haven't tried WooCommerce in Classic Responsive, but it will probably display well in there. The difference between Classic Responsive and Agility and Carta is that they have tools that are specifically intended to allow you to create your own customized responsive structures. And so I think they're more useful skins than Classic Responsive, but not necessarily. So it just depends on. I mean, I don't think I don't have experience with a lot of other skins, so I can't tell you whether or not somebody else's skin is going to be good for WooCommerce or not. I can just tell you that Agility and Carta work just fine in WooCommerce, and I'm guessing that Classic Responsive will probably work fine in it too.
It'd be really nice if you didn't have to have another plugin to make the WooCommerce work with Thesis 2.1.
Well, yeah, that's not going to happen though. I mean, the WooCommerce. I mean, there's a plugin for Genesis that does it too, right? I mean, WooCommerce has its own templating system that that doesn't work out of the box with Thesis. Doesn't work out of the box with Genesis either, and the only way you're going to use it is to use one of those plugins with one of those themes, either of those themes.
I had got about 220 items in a store under Thesis 1.85 and shop here. Spent about 3 weeks doing that.
Well, that WooCommerce has a service, a relatively inexpensive service, that will export products from shop and import them into WooCommerce.
Well, that would be great.
I think it costs $39 for less than 1,000 products.
I'll look into that here.
Yeah, I'm when we go to the shop class, or the WooCommerce class, I'm going to demonstrate that, because we are converting a shop store into WooCommerce. So I'm going to demonstrate that process of getting the data import.
How far in the future is that planned here?
That's planned for, well, it's either July or August. I mean, right now it's planned for August, but I'm probably going to rearrange it to go into July, based on where people are and based on where Thesis is. I would have done it first even had Thesis 2.1 been out, but I don't want to teach anything else in Thesis 2. So
I got to wonder if the shop people they're supposedly working on a new version too. So,
well, they are. They're working on version 2, I believe, and it's either that or it's 1.3. I haven't lost my confidence in them to ultimately produce a good product, but today it has problems where I can't, and my clients can't afford to have problems. So,
yeah.
So
how about the USPS shipping module that's with WooCommerce? How does that compare to the one that Shop has? It supposedly uses the same API from the Postal Service.
Yeah, it's not a question of the API. I mean, apparently it works well. In our testing of it, it definitely does the international shipping correctly, and it has a more robust and detailed packaging system. So you can specify what types of things are grouped together in boxes, and so it will actually calculate how stuff is boxed. Since we're selling books out of this store, if somebody buys 20 books, the shipping system is going to be different than if they buy 2 books. And so it calculates packaging and box volume and that kind of stuff when it figures out the cost of shipping for the U.S. Postal Service, which is terrific for us.
That's great.
So
Thanks.
it's quite a bit more robust. So, anything else?
That's it.
Okay. You have a great day.
I will.
Bye-bye. Okay, so Richard's got another question. Okay, Richard, what was it? It was about the change of variable and sidebar variable?
When you have the content and the sidebar, which is drawn from the total variable, if you change one variable, does the other one automatically adjust?
No, the total adjusts. It's the total is the sum of the other two.
Oh, okay.
So it's the total is the one that adjusts, not the 2.
Okay, so content and sidebar are fixed, and the total will fluctuate.
Yeah, the data input, the input fields are content and sidebar, and those are the only 2 data input fields you have. The total is the result of those 2 data inputs.
Oh, okay.
So
that helps.
Okay.
Thank you.
You betcha.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Jim said a few minutes ago the total didn't add padding, but now it's fixed, correct? Or a few days ago, total didn't add padding. No, total did add padding. In fact, it's not a question of total adding padding. Total doesn't add padding. What the padding is included in the total because the total is the sum of the 2 boxes, and the 2 boxes have a box sizing of border box, which means that if you specify a width of 600 pixels and then a padding of 27 pixels, then the 27 pixels comes out of the 600 pixels, and so you have a total left over of 573 pixels, for stuff, because the padding comes out of the total rather than being tacked onto the total. So I think I must have misspoke or something when I was talking about that. So okay, well, it does look like we are done here. So let's see, we'll be back on Wednesday of next week for live Q&A. There's no e-commerce class next Thursday for the 4th of July. And thank you very much, everybody, for your participation. And I look forward to chatting with everybody again soon. Bye-bye.